Even though I had computer science degree, I would still consider myself as non-technical because I still remember my database DBMS classes. I think my teachers used to hate me. I think sometimes we put a lot of these math statistics in a pedestal, which we shouldn't do. There is definitely, as you approach and as the complexity gets bigger.
That's fascinating actually to hear about how a simple metric can also be a game changer in the entire work that you do.
So I think I am one of these peculiar success stories, right? Had no background in coding, loved maths from school time, but never liked coding. If you start with analytics and if you can't do data science, have I done anything worthwhile? Data and analytics with AI is gonna kind of come in and rule everything in the next 10 to.
Hello everyone, welcome to this particular podcast where we have Aadi with us today, who is currently working as a senior data analyst with CureFit. Now in this particular discussion, we will try to understand his journey, his background, and there will be a lot of learnings from his particular journey about how he made his transition into the field of analytics. Also, those who are listening to us for the very first time, don't forget to subscribe this channel and keep following Analytics Lab. Yeah. Hello Adi, how are you?
Hey Sumit, excited to be here. Just सोचा आके थोड़ा ज्ञान बांटूं.
Great. So Adi, to start with, we want to understand your background. Your basically whether you did B.Tech or BE or something like that. What was the field or what was the branch, and then probably about your love with maths and coding, because these are few questions which everyone looks for before they get to know about your success.
Got it.
So let's start with your background.
Okay, so I think I am one of these peculiar success stories, right? Had no background in coding, loved maths from school time, but never liked coding. I did my computer science, but during my entire computer science, hated computer science, didn't want to do anything related to computer science, nor did I want to do anything related to a 9 to 5 job in a corporate, right? I was into mixed martial arts, I was into taking people for treks. So after college also, I went down that path. For the initial 3 to 6 months, idea nahi tha, what to do in life. But I was sure that I will not pick up a 9 to 5 job. That was my only condition to myself. I will not sit in front of a laptop and pick up any jobs such as that. So I went on to teach mixed martial arts, and I was taking people on treks for the first 3 to 6 months. And then came this company called CureFit, right? It was kind of gaining popularity back then. This is maybe in the year 2017, 2018, right? I think CureFit started in around 2016, 2017. So it was this up and coming popular brand and it was into fitness. So it's like, okay, compromise karte hai. I can, because it kind of, gelled with the fact that I also didn't want to do 9 to 5, but I was into fitness and I was in and around those tangents. I was like, okay, let's take a shot and join CureFit. So I joined into operations first. Again, nothing related to anything related to coding, anything related to analytics. Was in operations, and then was taking care of center operations, right, for the North cluster, which involves Banshankari, Malaysia, and everything of that sort. So pure operations. Then something peculiar happened during COVID, right? The entire operations shut down. So there was no offline centers at all. So offline centers ka kaam hi nahi hai during COVID. Now everything changed online.
Correct.
Now CureFit had taken a bet back then before this COVID itself started, right? We used to make small digital content. Nobody used to watch them. Company didn't care about it. But overnight, because of COVID, now content became the entire gameplay. So we were solving problems which were very similar to Netflix and OTT platforms back then during COVID, because now it was all about engaging all these customers that we had. They cannot work out offline. Now they have to come and work out online. Now, since the complexity of the problems became very analytical, and I had that background because I did computer science, even though I didn't do anything, something started making some sense, right? And then I could process data and started upskilling on SQL. And I have to do everything from scratch, but at least dar nahi tha. It was like, if I spend some time, I can figure it out. And that's how I kind of started transition into something called as content analytics, kind of working on recommendation algorithms, what content to recommend to users, right? Everything related to fitness so that we can engage them. And that's how my journey into analytics started.
Great, great.
Yeah.
It's very out of box regarding like this is the first time I'm hearing from someone who is working in content analytics,
Okay.
and that too figuring it out by yourself
Hmm.
because you were not having that kind of background previously working with either the content or with the analytics part, and you were working on both the things by yourself for the very first time. So let's talk about the core of what you do in content analytics. Can you take one basically a problem statement and then how you solved it and then how you evolved yourself during that solution phase?
Okay, I think there were multiple problems, right? My role, especially there was it was a bridge between the operations team. So there was content ops, the entire content team who produces content, and then churn it out to the app, and then also what content to keep on the app. Now I was the bridge between depending on how the users are consuming and how the rating is, what kind of content should we keep shooting? So we have had to take those calls. So I'll take a simple example, right? And I think this is something that I teach nowadays as well. It's something called as the content relegation framework. Simply put, some content are shot in-house, some content are also licensed. For example, content comes with music and everything, right? So licensing fee overhead bhi rehta hai. So now, especially for the content which are not shot in-house, since keeping it on a platform itself is a cost, right? We had to think of framework of, hey, how long do we keep it here? Is the ROI justified? So kind of had to come up with a scoring rubric of content. We'll look at maybe metrics, like just to give an example, right? Content ka rating kya hai, what is the viewership right, like what is the completion rate like, and looking at all this we'll come up with a score and then compare content and decide, okay, iska ROI is not high enough, we'll remove it. So kind of coming up with that framework, right? I think that is the one of the initial, and I was very new to analytics. I think this is one of the project that I took up and then kind of made me think really deeply apart from tool as well, right? Direct into application. I think that was the biggest leverage that I had. As I was learning, I was forced to apply. Even though I had guidance, it was not just learning and then sochte, okay, ek saal baad maybe I'll apply. No, as I was learning, I was applying real time, and that made everything much more fun. And I think that is why I kind of went down this path and was able to stick with the path, because that joy of applying immediately as I was learning was very, very, it gave me a big high.
Okay, that's fascinating actually to hear about how a simple metric can also be a game changer in the entire work that you do.
Yeah.
Because multiple times when I engage with the students and when I teach them metrics, they probably feel like this is the easiest part and we should not focus as much as I need to focus on working with Python or learning complex machine learning. But these smaller things, which is defining a metric, how to track the business performance, whether the business is working out good or not, or whether the content is working or not, that's very critical. And people and students, those who are listening to us, please focus on these things also, because in interviews people will be willing to ask such questions, right? So okay, let's get into one scenario. Let's say you are going to hire someone for your team. What should be the ideal profile that you will look at, and then how a person will be able to crack your interview? What kind of attitude the person should carry, or what kind of technical expertise the student should carry?
Got it. So I'll divide into two things, right? One is obviously the tool proficiency, general, depending on which company I am in. Taking my company itself as an example, right? Basic SQL knowledge is tool knowledge is just an entry into the analytics space. Most of us kind of spend majority of our time running behind tools. I would say don't know enough to get your foot in the door. Then it's about thinking, right? Can you truly take up analytics problem and drive impact to the company? So these are the two things that I would usually check in the interview. One is, have you got your foot inside the door, which is basic tool knowledge. Do you have it? If not, it's not that I want to reject you immediately. You might have good business acumen and you can solve problems, but the problem is that that curve is higher. I might as well find a candidate who has both than giving you an opportunity because you don't have basic tool knowledge as well. So first is basic tool knowledge. Do you have it? Then I move on to, okay, how do you approach problems? Do you have that drive and that passion to kind of, solve an unknown problem? Because usually when you go into any industry, you're solving unknown problems. You're not solving a problem here and I'm now going to hire you to solve the same problem. So the approach to the problem matters, because problem changes across industries, but the problem solving approach mostly remains the same. So what is your approach of solving the problems? Is it structured or is it haphazard? Do you have some strategy of solving a problem? If yes, that is what I check next. Then after that I would check, hey, okay, even if say problem solving looks like it's promising but not the highest, right? Even tool knowledge looks like it's promising, not the highest. Then third is that drive and passion, eagerness to learn, right? If I get the sense throughout, I get the sense from, I take cues from your background, cues from how much of projects you have self-started. Have you just copy pasted some project which already exists and done? That all shows that you are not trying something new. You don't have drive to do something on your own analytics. So if top two are okay, but you have insane drive, and I get that confidence that you have, you can learn things on your own, you're a learnable resource, and I would definitely hire you. So have basic tool knowledge to summarize, right? And make sure you're thinking in terms of some structures. Take business problem, but how do you structure it and solve it? And third is
Eagerness to learn.
Yes, eagerness to learn. Either have it or I would say fake it in the interview, right? Which will land you in trouble later on, because if you're not truly interested in this space, you will not make it far.
Correct.
So if you already are very eager, try to show it through different projects that you have done, or really kind of, talk about how eager you are. Best way is to show than to just talk, say, I'm very eager. Instead, showcase small little things that you've done, personal projects that you've done, and show the interviewer you're really passionate about the space.
Correct.
Yeah.
So many students ask me that should we choose Excel, Tableau, and then your SQL to start with tools, or should we focus more on complex things like Python, then machine learning, then AI, and then going to deep learning? Because as we all know, this is data analytics and data science. But what concerns them is if they only learn data analytics, that would not be sufficient for them. They feel like everyone is looking for those great minds who can work with those neural networks and complex algorithms. So what is your take on this? Is it sufficient to just learn analytics and the core analytics and then probably shift into a job role, or do you need to learn everything and then start looking for a job?
God, I think I really resonate with this question, because analytics and data science, right? Is if you start with analytics and if you can't do data science, have I done anything worthwhile? I mean, a lot of us also have this question, but now I think I am off the mindset that analytics is slowly becoming a necessity, right? Being able to work with data and being able to do basic analytics is a necessity.
Okay.
And then if you kind of extrapolate it and want to stick with it and do further, go dive deep into the world of data analytics, then I would say the next level would be data science. But the strong foundation is set within the analytics space itself. That is basic tool knowledge, like we already discussed, right? And think about data problems, because even with data science, you are solving business problems.
Correct.
You're not doing data science for the sake of doing science.
Correct.
You're doing data science in order to solve a problem, right? It could be as simple as, depending on the Netflix movies that you're watching, what should I recommend to you so that you stick or you watch more with us?
Correct.
That's a advanced analytics problem, or you can call it a data science problem, because regression and a lot of things you're using.
Correct.
But if that excites you, first step is still analytics itself.
Correct.
Because directly jumping into data science without enough experience in the data world, enough experience solving these statistics, thinking about maths in a way where you have not applied it, might be too challenging. So in order to summarize, I would say data analytics is soon becoming very crucial and necessary for anything that you do, irrespective of the role that you're in. If you have data acumen and analytics acumen, you're going to do wonders. Whereas compared to somebody who cannot extract data on their own, who cannot think about data the way you can. So any role you will have the edge if you know data analytics. But if you want to take it up a notch, right, you can move into the data science as well, where data analytics is still the foundation for data science.
So everything starts from the base, and you have
Correct.
to be super good in base.
Yes.
Great. How you look at the AI scenario right now? Everyone who is right now applying for roles in data science or data analytics, and let's be very stick to data analytics as of now, because we have more freshers and more students who are in the data analytics field and right now looking for the job. So how the market is looking at these people, given that so many AI tools are in the market right now, and how students should curate or maybe develop themselves or evolve themselves so that they are able to satisfy these requirements in the market.
Got it. I think AI is something that we are also thinking about, right? Not just students, even seasoned professionals are kind of trying to figure out how to leverage AI. So the larger consensus, at least as of today, can change, because the last 10 years versus the next 10 years, the rate of change will be insanely different.
Correct.
Last 10 years took some time for it to develop. The next 10 years can look insanely fast. So the predictions that both of us are discussing right now can change, but the general consensus right now is, with AI, people with enough foundation, enough knowledge, they are able to leverage AI better than somebody who does not know, for example, Python at all, right? Or they do not know anything about app development, but now they want to use AI to develop apps. You will develop some app, but will you truly solve a problem? Will you truly develop an end-to-end app and generate money out of it? Maybe not. Side hustles, side projects which does not do anything end to end, maybe you can create. But if you want to create true value out in the market, think about actually launching a product, right? Launching a product with AI will not be scalable, because you don't know. If something's break, you can't solve it on your own.
Correct.
And AI is not, good enough to kind of put that human mind there and correct all these nuances out there. So people who are leveraging or are at the top right now are people with high knowledge but can leverage AI as well. So I think that's how you should approach. For students also, the advice would be to make your foundation strong in whichever area you have interest in, right? Be it analytics, be it marketing, wherever. Make your foundation strong there so that you can become more efficient with AI, rather than I don't know anything, I will use AI for everything. That cannot be the case. So you should be so good somewhere that people can't ignore your foundation. They can't ignore your depth of knowledge in some domain. But you're using AI because you don't want to hire 10 people. You don't 10 people's job you can do because you know enough.
So,
So yes, that's how I would say, leverage AI right now. But then AI soon, like I said, next 10 years, agentic models, everything coming up, a lot more AI will be able to do. But I still believe people with deep knowledge will be able to leverage AI much faster than people with no knowledge at all of, whatever domain they want to kind of exploit.
So, right now we are talking about AI, and one statement that I frequently listen and read is AI is going to take your job. How true, and what is your perspective on this particular statement?
I think AI will definitely take your job if you don't kind of know how to work with AI, right? I think, like I said, if you have good depth of knowledge in some space and you can leverage AI, you are more preferred than somebody who do not know AI, will take longer. Just imagine, let's say both of us, right? You can leverage AI. Both of our depth of knowledge is same. Let's, for the sake of argument, right? Depth of knowledge in anything is same, but you can leverage AI. So that means you can work faster, because otherwise to do every single thing on your own, it'll be very hard. But to make somebody else do it, let's say an intern do it and verify their job, because you have the expertise. You can only verify somebody's job if you have the expertise. If you hire a team of 10 people and you don't know what they're going to do, then you cannot even verify, right? So let's say you can verify it, you can do job of 2-3 more people, versus me, I cannot leverage, I cannot be more efficient, I can only increase my own this thing, right? I'm a one-man army, whereas you are a 2, 3 or whatever. It is infinitely scalable. So I would say that over time that will become the norm. That will become the expectation. That hey, leveraging AI, the output that has to come from one single agent or single person is far higher. So you will never be able to match up to that if you don't start leveraging AI in whatever work that you do.
Very true, very true.
Yeah.
So, Adi, one last question. See, if I am right now a student and I am trying to get into the field of data analytics, and I have zero experience, I'm just googling and searching for from where to should I learn analytics or whether I should learn analytics or not. For such people, what is your suggestion? Whether they should take this step right now or not, and if not, why? And if yes, why?
Okay. So I'll answer it in two parts again, right? First question is, should we take up data analytics? I would say a strong yes, because data and analytics with AI is gonna kind of come in and rule everything in the next 10, 20 years, right?
Correct.
Not being able to work with data, work with analytics will become a big problem, especially data, what I would say, because the foundation of AI itself is feeding in structured data. If AI does not have structured data fed in, the output will be garbage. It's garbage in, garbage out, right?
Right.
AI also relies heavily on data being structured. It's called the semantic layer or the thinking layer for the AI, right? So data engineers, the prominence of data engineers are also heavily increasing right now.
Correct.
So being able to work with data, I would still say, has a heavy edge over it will have over the next few years. So the answer to the first question, data analytics, definitely, you should definitely invest, because forget AI also will help you leverage in any of the roles that you're doing, right?
Right.
Because with so much data being generated, having a data sense and converting problems in a way where you can leverage data and kind of, define your own metrics, do your own analysis, you will definitely be a more sought out candidate than somebody who cannot. And second question, how do we enter the space, right? I think I'll answer the question for both the professionals and freshers, right? Freshers, now that we have established that doing data will definitely benefit you, I would say maybe enroll, or if you have some project in mind, it can be anything, tracking your own personal data, how are you doing workouts, because data is everywhere, right? How you search on Google, you're generating data on Swiggy or anything. Try to come up with some personal project on your own, and as you're building that project, try to kind of take courses on the side, because objective is very clear. Because usually what happens is a lot of Udemy courses and unstructured courses is, right, you do the course, then you don't know what to do with it. So, speaking from my personal experience, right, I learned simply because I found that joy in learning, because I was able to apply it. So, figure out something that you are passionate where you can apply. Be it finding, it could be as simple as, okay, how is my spend on Swiggy? How am I using Swiggy? What is my most ordered food? How will you answer it? You'll have to extract data.
Correct.
Swiggy data nahi hai data. So you'll have to web scrape it and then get it. For that, you will have to use basic Python and Selenium.
Correct.
So then you will figure that out. Then okay, the objective is this, web scraping hai. For that, tool is Python. Library is Selenium. Now I will use it because I have to do this. Rather than saying, okay, I will learn Python, I will learn Selenium library, I'll learn NumPy library, then to do what? So it's called play, right? It's called deliberate play. In the art of learning itself, right? How do you make learning a little more stress-free and enjoyable? You have to figure out, hey, what excites you and how do you make it a little playful? I would say you can make it playful when you have some personal passion projects going on. If not, if you don't know, then follow a structured course and kind of, try to follow that structured course and be very disciplined. But personally with myself, I have found that, if I can introduce some element of play within my learning, where I'm just screwing around, I'm just trying to do random things and then apply things that I've learned there, I stick with it longer and I have fun along with the process. So for students, I would especially kind of try to push them in this direction so that it doesn't become so, it doesn't become so complex and so boring that you're just like, "Arey, chhod do, something is happening in this analytics SQL, there is some Python, there is some Power BI. What do I do with it?" Instead, if we start, like, if we lead with, okay, this is what I want to do. Now, what all do I have to learn? It's like learning guitar, right? If you want to play Shape of You Ed Sheeran song, then you will learn the chord to play that song. You wouldn't learn 100, 200 chords in order not to be able to play anything, right? So that's where projects can anchor you. And for professionals, what I would say is, if you're already in any company, if you can get access to your data set, everyone will have analytical databases, right? If you can get access to your database, at least within your domain of wherever you're working, then join a course and then keep applying what you're learning in the data sets that you're already working with. And then show your manager that, hey, can we do this? We can improve this metric. This seems to be dropping. Really engage with your managers with that data, and you will also see improvement. The people around you also will value a little more because you're coming from that angle, and plus learning also will be much more fun for you.
Correct. Great suggestion. Great. So one final question. You can consider it like a one-liner question. Do I need math to begin with the field of data analytics, or do I need to be super good in maths to begin with the journey of data analytics?
I would say no.
Yeah, you can add on.
I would say basic common sense is needed, which we all have, right? I think sometimes we put a lot of these math statistics in a pedestal, which we shouldn't do. There is definitely, as you approach and as the complexity gets bigger, definitely maths will come in, statistics will come in, a lot of things will come in, because the kind of problems you're solving also requires that kind of maths. Right. But to get your foot in the door and solve basic problems, just, basic intuition and basic common sense is more than enough to get started. Right. And as you do more of these things, then you will see that, hey, this math is nothing but common sense. And then math, as you learn more maths also, that will also be like common sense, because you're kind of layering it upon things that you already know. And that's how learning also becomes easy, right? Whenever we learn new things, we are kind of connecting it to the existing things that we already know. If we don't know anything, then the new thing becomes very hard. So correct. Slowly learn, and then learning new things also becomes way more easier.
Okay, great. What is your suggestion to people, or maybe the correct question would be, if I am from a non-technical background, can I enter into the field of analytics?
Definitely. I think I would consider myself as from non-technical background. Even though I had computer science degree, I would still consider myself as non-technical, because I still remember my database DBMS classes. I think my teachers used to hate me. I still remember my SQL labs. I never used to do anything. So I did not know anything. It was just, there was a curiosity later in the job, right? I knew that, okay, I came from computer science. Maybe I just had that growth mindset that if I spend some time, I should be able to crack it. So in the end, provided, I think I keep saying this in a lot of my classes, and a lot of people who ask me, mentorship advisors as well, right? I think we all know this law of 10,000 hours, right? To be truly great at something, you have to spend 10,000 hours at it. 10,000 hours in any of these tools is insane. We cannot. There is one more rule, which is the rule of 20 hours. If you can spend at least 20 hours with any of this, right, you are already above average. So before dismissing, or before saying, hey, this is too difficult for me, try to spend 20 hours with it. 20 hours is, in a month, if you spend 30 days every day, think that maths, hold on. Yeah, you should be able to reach 20 hours very quickly. So try to put that hours in, and it will get, easier and easier.
Yeah. So Adi, that was a great discussion with you, and I hope you guys would have enjoyed getting all the suggestions and all your answers. So I hope you guys enjoyed this particular discussion, and I hope Adi was helpful in answering all your commonly asked questions regarding whether you should make a shift or not, or whether you are a right fit for the roles in analytics or not. And if you have any questions related to this discussion, if you have any question to Adi, please drop your question on the comment section and we will get it answered. And for more such interesting content, keep following Analytics Lab.